Well, this is going to be an interesting one. As some of you might have heard, I'm not entirely sure. A new bill just passed in Texas that people are claiming would ban anime. Oh boy. This is going to be a very interesting conversation, in my opinion, because we're going to cover what the bill actually says. I've actually gone through the liberties of looking it up. I'm going to go through what it actually says, talk about the conversation that might be that is going on around this, and going on a bit of a tangent behind what I think might actually be leading to this whole situation. Or a couple and something I think will be leading to this situation, and something I think is actually behind this situation. It's gonna be a bit of an interesting one, and honestly, one of my more actually political videos and not garbage social videos. But don't worry, we're gonna have plenty of that today.
Give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money.
Oh, you know what time it is. Shield time. If you look down in the description, you'll see a link to a Patreon, a Rumble, and a Discord server. If you want to see the uncut versions of these videos, go ahead check out the Rumble. I cut these videos to fit YouTube's wonderful content policies, so if you'd like to see all the spicier jokes and things that YouTube would beat me with a spoon over, go ahead check that out. If you want to come hang out or chat or tell me I'm a fucking retard, go ahead and give the Discord server a look. And finally, if you think the content is worth it, go ahead and give the Patreon a look. You know, patron subscriptions will encourage me to continue doing this. Maybe so I don't have to get a second job. Don't know. And, it'll just help me improve the quality as well. Anything that goes into the Patreon will go back into the YouTube videos in some way, shape, or form. Also, once I finally get one patron subscriber, I will finally remove the annoying as shit Discord notifications. Marketing. So yeah. Also, if you liked the video, go ahead, give it a like. If you want to see more of my videos, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to annoy your friends with my amazing voice or my squeaky chair, go ahead and share it. All right, back to the video. All right, so let's get into this. The bill is Texas Senate Bill 20. I believe it officially has passed. No, it says right here it's been enrolled, sent to the governor. I've pulled this up on a website called Legiscan, so do with that what you will. And right off the bat, so again, as I stated, people are saying that this bill is going to ban anime in Texas. Right off the bat, we have the bill title relating to the creation of criminal offense. Excuse me. Relating to the creation of the criminal offense of possession, promotion, or production of certain obscene visual material appearing to depict a child. Hello, kitty. The kitty has come to say hello. Appearing to depict a child. Visual material appearing to predict a child. How many times I gotta say that? I think it's very clear what that's actually talking about, and it's not anime, it's a certain thing, a certain form of media of which an artiste who dabbles in the more Asian style of art mediums, but really just any artistic mediums in general, depicting a minor, an individual under the age of 18 engaging in acts of unsolicited, solicited, whatever, consensual or non-consensual hoinky poinky. That's, but obviously, visual materials appearing to depict a child. That obviously that could be a little more than that. I think it's vague on purpose, but let's get into the bill a bit more. Relating to the creation of the criminal offense of possession or promotion of obscene visual materials appearing to depict a child, be it enacted by the legislature of the state of Texas, Section 1, Subchapter B, Chapter 43, Penal Code, is amended by adding Section 43.235 to read as following. Possession or promotion of obscene visual materials appearing to depict a child is in this section. 1. Promote has the meaning assigned by Section 43.25. No idea which section that is, and I'm not going to go digging through a billion other laws to find it. This one I actually will have to. Visual material has the meaning assigned by section 43.26. Alright, well, let's go ahead and look up what section 43.26 is. I don't know, this might actually all be in this bill. Actually, I think this is all in this bill. Let me see if I can find both of those. If it's actually in this. It might not be. Alright, so promote has been given the meaning assigned by section 43.25, which according to this, I looked it up on a place called findlaw.com. Again, do with that with what you will. Texas Penal Code, penal 43.25, sexual performance by a child. So, the basic what they're saying is the legal definition they're going off of is sexual content depicting somebody under the age of 18. It is a law that says that people under the age of 18 committing or depicting acts of hoinky-poinky. That is the meaning of this. And then section 43.26. The definition is possession of content depicting minors under the age of 18 committing acts of hoinky-poinky. A person commits an offense if the person knowingly possesses, accesses with intent to view, or promotes obscene visual materials containing a depiction that appears to be of a child younger than 18 years of age engaging in activities described by section 43.21. I think we can all establish what that is based off of 25 and 26. Regardless of whether depiction is an image of an actual child, a cartoon or animation, or an image created using an artificial intelligence application or other computer software. There you go. This has nothing to do with just anime. This is specifically underage mablinkying content, I have to censor for YouTube. I apologize. This is not going to be one very well liked by YouTube. It's not talking about anime. It's talking about candied pigeons. It's talking about candied pigeons. There we go. Let's make that a thing. Call it candied pigeons. Now this is... there's not really much more to say on this. It's not banning anime. It's banning candied pigeons, specifically of the cartoonish variety. Now, it is important to note that Texas had a law that already banned straight up candied pigeons already. This basically extends that to include drawings of candied pigeons. But people are painting it out as if they are banning anime. Now, I'm no anime fan. I'm not like the biggest anime guy. I'm not a weeb or anything. But I do enjoy myself some Berserk. Berserk, definitely has its adult themes. But it never passes into candied pigeons. And I know there are plenty of other anime and manga that don't cross over into candied pigeon. In fact, from what I've gathered, it's not even that hard to find one that doesn't. You actually have to go out of your way to find one that does. I don't know, maybe you'll stumble upon one. I don't know. I'm not super versed in looking up Chinese cartoons. Yes, I know, I said Chinese. Deal with it. I'm doing that one just to piss off the weebs in the audience. Oh, boy. So, yeah. Where is this idea that it is banning anime come from? And moreover, why is Texas all of a sudden deciding to do this? Is it just because we have a Republican president and a Republican majority in the House right now? Or the Senate? What's leading to this? What's going on? I have a couple theories. One of them's actually from dealing with a group of people. The other is just kind of a theory based on the political situation of Texas, or a political situation in Texas. Now,
I want to start off with what I think, or rather what I've heard people say might be causing Texas to move forward with this bill, which I can kind of understand. This is kind of, again, this is just a theory, but from what I've heard, this is kind of connected to a situation with a bunch of books that are claiming to be made for children, or just books with explicit content like that making their way into libraries to be accessed for children. Like, either the books are made to depict this stuff to children and get children kind of used to it, or obscene books were being put in libraries in ways that children could get at them. And here's the thing, I'm inclined to believe this because this is not the first time a state has had to pass a law relating to this. Remember the Don't Say Gay bill that was such a big deal back a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago in Florida? Yeah, that wasn't that was all hoi polloi. What it was basically saying teachers can't go and tell these kids how to be homosexual or how to do this or that or the next thing. And I believe that also came with some similar banning of content, because there is a thing going on with the left of making books for children, quote unquote, that basically teach them how to commit Hankus McPankus. Specifically Hankus McPankus of the same-sex variety. And so this is very clearly a problem, and if I'm not mistaken, take this with a grain of salt. I could be completely remembering this wrong, but it sticks in my head. It sticks in my head that part of why these books are being put in libraries was due to some policies from either Biden or Obama. It sticks in. It was like there was some policies, some laws or some shit that basically opened the door for this stuff. And that is why it became an issue. Even if it wasn't, if it wasn't a federal law or something like that, it was rogue individuals on smaller state and city level politics doing it. So I'm inclined to believe that this theory that this law is being passed by Texas to give them the wiggle room to remove similar content. I'm inclined to believe that just on the grounds of this is not the first time we've seen this happen. Again, Florida went through the same thing a few years back, and they were scrutinized for it as well. They were scrutinized for it, though, because, it's book burning and it's a limitation on free speech. Now, since we're touching on that argument here, I might as well go into this. I made a big deal with my previous video about, the guy I was talking about not liking free speech or free speech absolutism. I would consider myself a free speech absolutist, and I would argue that would not fall under banning of free speech, because free speech absolutism still is bound by the idea of your rights end where mine start. You don't have the right to perv on fucking children. You don't have the right to perv on kids. And that's what that is. It's grooming, and grooming is a crime. It infringes on not just the rights of the parents, but the rights of the children. Children have a right to not be groomed in this country. So, that said, like I said, Texas is definitely taking a far more interesting approach to this, I'd say. Because this just straight up, like I said, it bans any content and the possession of that content. It's not just like, oh yeah, these can't be given to kids, these books aren't for kids, these yada yada. They took this a step further into just banning, that sort of content. And this is where I think things get really interesting with this. So remember how I said I believe there is something that is pushing Texas to do this, and there is a hidden, almost I would say I believe there is an almost malicious reason behind why people are pushing this as a full-on anime ban. And the reason I believe this is actually because I have dealt with people who are into that shit. Oh boy, this is where shit's gonna be. This is where shit's gonna get interesting. Now, a lot of time, I think this is being pushed by certain individuals who are into that content. reason I believe that is because how do I put this? Like I said, I've dealt with these sorts of people, and there is a very common argument I hear from them constantly, that they're not into children. They're not into candied pigeons. Let's do a little biology class with 9. So, why do people like sexually explicit drawings of anime women? Because they like women. Okay? Now, I have heard people say that they don't like real women, they only like the drawings. That's because they've desensitized themselves with the drawings. This is actually a scientifically recorded phenomena where people essentially will desensitize themselves with the pornographic, depictions of women, like anime drawings, which they're cartoons. Look, time to piss the weebs off again. Anime is a cartoon. Cartoon is not specifically referring to your goofy little happy Saturday morning stuff. It is referring to a depiction. I've been playing a lot of Doom. We'll use Doom as an example. Doom's gore is cartoonish. We don't think that it's cartoonish because when we think cartoons, we think Looney Tunes, we think Disney, we think shit like that. But Doom's gore would count as cartoonish because it is over the top, unrealistic. The stuff that you do in Doom is unrealistic. It is over the top. It is parody, essentially. And that's kind of what cartoon means. I'm not using an exact definition right here because I want to more explain the concept behind it. But that's essentially what cartoons are. They are a parody-like depiction of something that is designed specifically to bring attention to certain aspects of what is being drawn, because they will help communicate the message more. There's a reason that Elmer Fudd looks the way Elmer Fudd does. He's short, big head, big eyes, kind of chubby face looking, big round nose. Cartoons are designed to depict things in a sometimes comical, but in essence in parody, to exaggerate and bring attention to certain, features that will assist within the storytelling and the emotional conveyance of whatever the artist is trying to push. So to bring this all back to anime women, why would a person not want to look at a real woman, but look at an anime woman? It's because an anime woman is a cartoon of a real woman. In those situations of explicit content, the way it is drawn in a cartoonish manner. It is drawn to enhance and bring attention to the certain aspects that are wanting to be conveyed. And the thing with explicit content is it's the things that make a person's brain go awooga. It is designed, even with the facial design, I don't know the name of the guy, but I remember seeing a YouTube short on this, where basically the guy who came up with the anime art style, he based it on Disney, things like Betty Boop, which is already going to say something. Because if you look at Betty Boop's design, the big eyes, the sort of round, cute, it's designed to be, the ideal, a cartoonishly ideal depiction of the feminine form is the idea, but in a more wholesome manner, at least by our standards. And he did the same. The guy who came up with the anime art style did the same thing, where using that sort of groundwork, and actually, funny enough, modeling it off the face of a cat more than a human. Hi, kitty. It is designed to smooth out and refine the human face in a way that is idealized. It's pleasant to look at in the ideal with cartoons. See, cartoons don't just need to be goofy, they can be idealized. Or things that are drawn in a way that are made to idealize. So, when people say they're attracted to anime women, they are attracted to an idealized depiction of a real woman. If they say they're attracted to anime women and not real women, that is because they have spoiled their brain with the idealized depiction that the real life equivalent isn't going to work for them. but you still need that wiring. Biology doesn't stop existing because it's a drawing. People are attracted to drawings of anime women because they're attracted to women. They are wired that way. They are programmed that way. That's how that works. They're not going to be attracted to the drawings of anime women if they're not attracted to real women, at least by default. With that said, people who are attracted to that are attracted to that because they are wired to be attracted to the same thing. Pedophilia is a crime, but it is also a mental illness. It is a faulty programming of the human mind for these people. Let's not forget that. It is one that people can control, and it is one that people can get treated, and that is why it is a crime, because the people who do operate on it do so willingly, do so knowing exactly what the hell they're doing, need to be held accountable. People who look at lolly content are attracted to individuals under the age of 18. And I know for a fact that they are all going to argue that they're not. And what are the arguments going to be? Well, I've actually heard some people say it's a healthy outlet, which to them I say, no, that would be treatment so you can get over your fucking sickness. But the other one I hear a lot is, just because I'm attracted to the drawing doesn't mean I'm attracted to the real thing. Again, biology doesn't stop biologying because it's a drawing. The reason they're attracted to that depiction is because they're attracted to the real thing. Maybe they started looking at the drawing well before they looked at the real thing, and so they got desensitized, and so they're only into the drawings because the real thing ain't going to do it for them anymore. They desensitize themselves. It doesn't meet the standards they expect, but it's still there. Now, with this all established, or that little ramble established, these people are attracted to depictions of individuals who are under 18. They're attracted to... Well, okay, let's get into this here. They're attracted to an artistically drawn equivalent to candied pigeons. If we look at hentai as pornography, as a drawn version of pornography, why is it that that's all of a sudden on a different ground? Well, it's because these people are huffing copium. They don't want to accept what they really are, sick in the head. And this is where the whole narrative of it is a ban on anime is coming into play. Within the past, especially the past 5 years, there's been a very large push to become more lenient to those of the pedophilic nature. Maybe it's died down a bit. I haven't seen it as much, but I definitely remember up to before the election last year that there was a big push by these people who were into such content to make it more accepted in society, to make it more normalized. The issue with that, or rather, not really the issue, but the reason I bring this up is because I think that's part of what's at play here. These people, these MAPS individuals, as they called themselves, which, funny enough, have almost exclusively on the left, have been pushing in every aspect to kind of get themselves accepted. At the same time, other aspects of the left were doing this really weird thing where they tried to depict it as all anime characters that people found attractive looked like children. That was weird. So there is two things I'm seeing here that could possibly be playing into this. I think they're both connected. I think the reason that people were pushing the whole Oh, you're attracted to an anime woman? Well, that looks like a child. Are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile? I think was in part playing into the normalizing thing, but that's just a theory and I don't really have any grounds for it. It was just a really weird argument. But with the pedophiles, with the MAPS individuals, they're trying to normalize their fetish. Very common thing on the left for whatever stupid reason. They want to normalize their fetishes, and I think this is another push at that. Or rather, a counter push. There was an attempt to make MAPS. There was an attempt by the MAPS dinguses to make, pedophilia normalized and accepted. Now, there's, I think the first time in American history, their content is at threat of being banned, even in just one state. And they're trying to stop it because it is exact counter for what they've been doing for God knows how long. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to push this idea that Texas is banning anime to get people who are not into pedophilic content to jump on the bandwagon with them, to outrage people at Texas. I think Texas's law is a good thing. Because all that allowing that content has done is promoted a form of degeneracy that has just been an artistic rendering of candied pigeons. And I have several issues with that, but I think the two biggest ones I will bring up is this has given pedophiles who are into actual, not drawn candied pigeons can use this group as a way to make themselves more accepted. They can meet with this group, and it acts as a wonderful underground group for them. The other thing is, it does normalize this content. The more you allow something this degenerate, the more you allow degeneracy in general, the worse degeneracy gets. And this is just another stepping stone. The longer that lolicon content is allowed, it's just a matter of time before these pedophiles get comfortable coming out and pushing pedophilia. They already did that. They already tried to do that. These people need help or a jail cell. And while it's a drawing, yes, it's not the same as doing it to a real child. The fact of the matter is, it is a sign that you're attracted into that stuff, and at that point you shouldn't be trusted. At that point, you should be evaluated for those sorts of mental illnesses, because people with them a lot of times like to act on them. And do I really need to explain the problem with letting entire groups of people who are attracted to sexual depictions of underage individuals? Do I really need to explain the problem with that? It's the drawings right now. What's it going to be in another 20 years? Just because we haven't gotten to the worst possible extreme, just because there might be people who control it, doesn't mean we should allow it. So I think that this Texas bill is a good thing. I know a lot of people are also arguing that it's going to get shot down in the Supreme Court for being unconstitutional, because I think back in the 90s or something, pornography was ruled as a First Amendment thing. Look, I'm just going to say personally, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's free speech at all. Free speech is the right and ability to form, have, and share an opinion, and to retort another opinion. That is free speech. Pornography is not that. Pornography is not forming, having, sharing, and retorting opinions. It is just degeneracy. Degeneracy that humanity has not actually had access to for a very long time. Or not, I mean, actually, let me rephrase that. It's degeneracy that humanity has not had access to before, period. You either had to be really sneaky with the ladies, like you had to be either really good at banging chicks and not getting noticed because it was highly shunned, or honestly that was kind of it. And now it's just easily accessible. Just a push of a button away. We have allowed so much degeneracy that it has gotten to a point where we are having to pass laws that say you can't, wank the helicopter to drawings of candied pigeons. Having to be very creative with my words here. And we're calling that free speech. That's not free speech. That's not a speech of anything. That is just degeneracy, and it needs to be stopped. Especially this part of it. So, yeah, I think that Texas's law is a good thing. I think it needed to be done because of the state of the world right now. But they're not banning anime. And if it was just a total ban on anime, I would have a problem with that. Mainly because I wouldn't have weebs to make fun of, but that I would have an issue with. Because then you are banning free speech, you are banning art and commentary, and basically, just shit like that. But this isn't a ban on that. And I think the people who are trying to say that it is a ban on that and are pushing that narrative have ulterior motives that we need to be very weary about. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, and please consider subscribing to the channel for more of this stupid nonsense. Also, if you'd like to hang out or just call me a stupid idiot dummy face, go ahead and check out the Discord. And if you'd like to support more content like this, go ahead and give out the Patreon a check. I hope y'all have yourselves a good day.